In Part 4 of Lecture 7, we will discuss Internet service using cable and phone companies, as well as others. Cable television has been considered the gold standard of fixed Internet access, although I would argue that fiber optic telephone service is better. Cable television companies have been providing broadband Internet service longer than anyone else. The term frequently associated with this is CATV, Community Antenna Television. The cable television company receives its connection through a central location, quite frequently from a satellite link like the one shown in the diagram. From here, the connection is supplied to their subscribers. The reason that this works is because CATV cables, whether they are using coaxial cable or fiber optic cable, has the extra bandwidth to carry television and Internet transmissions. This will carry both incoming or downstream data and outgoing or upstream data. There are 4 types of Internet service that users can get through the local telephone company. These are dial-up, ISDN, DSL, and FTTH service. Dial-up is the most basic fixed connection for the Internet. The user connects a modem to the telephone line. The modem can dial out to the phone company's number for dial-up Internet service. The modem in use here is a voice band modem using the same circuit switching channels that it would normally use for regular telephone calls. The process of transmitting computer data requires that the computer's digital signal be transformed into analog audio tones. The outgoing signals are transformed from voltages to sound, and incoming signals are transformed from sound into voltages. And all of this is using the same system that we normally use to call mom and dad. In earlier days, modems had a cradle into which a telephone handset would be placed. But modems don't work like that anymore. They are connected directly to a phone jack, and from there the signal goes through the telephone network. This is not the only way to connect through the phone company. As a matter of fact, it is not that common for people to connect this way, given the relatively slow connection speeds. ISDN is a better option. ISDN stands for Integrated Services Digital Network. With ISDN, your phone line now carries 2 separate channels, one for voice service and one for data service. ISDN uses packet switching. A faster and newer way to connect is DSL, or Digital Subscriber Line, which is a high-speed digital connection that is always on. DSL uses regular phone lines. Its speeds are comparable to CATV connection speeds. FTTH stands for Fiber to the Home Service. The signal that is delivered to your home uses fiber optic connections, even if the connection within your home is still copper wire. It provides far faster connection than ISDN, DSL, or CATV service. Verizon's Fios service is an example of this. Satellite internet service is also available, in many cases from the same company that provides satellite television service. It provides a broadband asymmetric signal to the satellite antenna that the user has on the roof. In rural areas where it is prohibitively expensive to provide cable connections, this may be the only viable alternative to a dial-up service. If you are in need of a mobile connection, Wi-Fi may work well for you. Wi-Fi makes use of local antennas called access points that are connected to a wired network. The access points, which are also called hotspots, broadcast Wi-Fi signals with a range of approximately 150 feet. A Wi-Fi connection, like any other wireless connection, carries a real risk of interception. The question becomes whether that risk of interception will end up costing you. If you are browsing the web, checking baseball or basketball scores, reading the news on sites that don't require a password, or checking directions to which you are traveling, the risk is fairly low. Similarly, if you are using a secured website that uses heavy encryption, again, your risk is fairly low. You can tell if this is the case because the URL for the site will begin with HTTPS instead of HTTP. These sites are used for activities such as online banking, accessing medical records, making credit card purchases. The encryption means that even if the signal is intercepted, they won't be able to make any sense of it. File sharing represents a medium risk when using Wi-Fi. Eavesdroppers might be able to access files on your computer if you have file sharing turned on. If you are using a public network, you should have file sharing turned off. You can do this manually if your operating system does not offer the option when you are connected. Using unsecured sites represents a high risk. Logging into sites that are not secured means that a wireless eavesdropper can potentially get your ID and password, which means that they can then access your account. Checking email on such a network would be an example of such a risk.